All right. Happy New Year to everybody. CypherTalk, the first one in 2017, and we have Jhorick here, the DJ. Illjay, right?
Illjay2.
Illjay2, the number 2 is very important in that. Is there an Illjay, just regular Illjay?
No, I don't think so. I looked it up before I changed it up.
Oh, okay. Did you have a really funny nickname before, or?
Yeah, my first name I went by was DJ Weak Sauce. That didn't mark it out so well, so people told me, you know what, get off the negative and then just move on with it, right? It's time for a
DJ
change.
Pro Sauce. That's funny. So you used to break, right?
Yeah, back in the day.
Which because I don't really know this. Which crew did you break with?
I was with QBC.
Oh, Quick Beats.
So Quick Beats, yeah. It's that, and we had that little split for a bit, then we went to SWAT style with Absolute Technique, and then came back all together as one big super crew. It's QBC again.
So you've competed at some of the Breakthrough Breads then?
Of course.
Yeah. Wow. What era would you call that?
Oh man, this was.
And when do you from what years to?
This had to have been when I was still 14.
Oh, okay.
When I was doing it.
And how old are you now, man?
Oh man, I'm 31 now, so that was well over 15 years ago, right?
Wow. Shit, man. You're like Mark. don't look that old, man. But oh, I got history.
We've seen it all.
So, what's new with you, man? What's new with the new year? Like, what do you got planned?
For this year, 2017. Well, of course, I'm still running Scratcher, which is our monthly get together scratch sessions. So this year we're gonna throw another battle again. We're gonna throw it with me and some of the guys from Bundown.
Okay.
So we're trying to make it bigger this year. We might do aside from the scratch battle, I'm gonna incorporate another b-boy battle in between, but also we might do a whole all styles battle just to bring the whole community together as one.
Nice.
So everyone's got to see the scene, right? See all four elements at the same time. Of course, we're gonna have artists there, just tagging along and everything, right? Performances and of course the battle.
So to those who don't know, what's Scratcher all about?
Well, let's put it this way: Scratcher in general is just a group of DJs getting together, scratching. Mm-hmm. You can, this has gone. I think what are we at now? I think we're at 32 cities worldwide now. Nice. Running Scratcher, scratching. It's part of the DJ scene. Biggest thing I could say about it is I forgot which artist it was, but it hit me the most when I heard this line. But right at the beginning of his track, he says, "What is a DJ who can't scratch?
Yeah.
What is an MC who can't rap?" So now I've had turntables for a while. Mm-hmm. Then you hear that now you want to learn how to scratch. So scratching now, you can just, you're on a record just going back and forth, wiki, right?
Yeah.
You're making obnoxious sounds, but once you get to it later, you really get deep into it. Now you feel it more as an expression, just like anything else, like such dance as well.
Right, and I've heard that it's almost like an instrument, like in a way, with scratching. So and also today, like with like DJ iPod and stuff like that, you could just do you'd basically be a DJ and be like, oh, just play the music, like you don't even and something that I think we need to discuss, because I'm very passionate about this, is that DJs that just they mess up like a lot, especially if they're professional DJs in quotation marks, and they're at the club or at the bar or whatever, and then they mess up or just sounds really off, and you're what? Nobody reprimands them at all. What do you think about that? What's your view on that kind of stuff?
Well, there's so many out there that do that, right?
Yeah.
You think about it now, it's so easy just to become a DJ. You can, like you said, you can, like an iPod DJ, you could pick anything up off, you could off Best Buy if you want. Yeah. And you could say you're a pro. But everything comes in hand is you got to practice.
Yeah.
Right? Practice is the key, no matter what, right? If you're really passionate about DJing, you're going to spend your time, an hour a day or so at least. Of course, then, you'll see those screw-ups go and, they're gone.
So what's that like, though? How do you practice? Obviously, I'm not very familiar with what, a real DJ does as far as practicing? Like what kind of stuff does that entail?
Well, it depends on what I'm really gonna practice exactly. Usually I would spend my time just scratching. I could spend hours and hours of scratching. It's like it's for me, it's like a drug. Once you start going at it, you're in a whole different world, right? You're for yourself, because like I said, it was like an expression. You're just talking a language every time. You pull forward on the record, pull back. But there's that, and lately I've been beat juggling, which is kind of it's a little more technical on that side as well. Basically, you're taking two of the same or two different records, and you're playing around with the beats and making it your own now. But it's basically the remix live right in front of you.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little different. But and on the other side, there's times that I practice for just club stuff and just party rocking, whatever. You're playing just music. But in the same time, what I really want to practice is when I'm doing that, I'm trying to incorporate ideas. You're playing wordplay in some songs, right? The transition for me, I feel, is more of the key.
Yeah.
Because once you transition, that's when you're, let's see, what's the word there? That's where you really fully pull your execution into your next track. And that's when you get the crowd going, really.
And it's really like, I think that's underappreciated when somebody actually has a really good transition and it's like kind of melts into, because like there's so many ones that are just like choppy and you're like like it's kind of painful to listen to. But like for some reason I'm the only one who's like, what is this,
that, right?
man?
What was that?
Come on. Like come on, like especially like if you're getting paid to DJ, I'm like, dude, you better have your stuff. Like I understand like if you make a few mistakes here and there and all that, but if you're getting paid for like a gig,
you better have your A game, right?
Yeah, I know. So, how important is like? Do you think it's kind of understated how important the DJ is in the hip hop culture?
It's funny because I actually just read that just recently. Somebody was saying even with concerts, how some of the hip hop scene is losing the DJs themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of saw that too, but it's very important to have the DJ. Like, you know what I mean? This is the guys that's gonna get you amped up, right?
Yeah, for
Even
sure.
For any kind of shows.
Because like I think Buddha Stretch said it from Elite Force, but he was talking about, he's like, look at who are the like some of the most important people in hip hop as like the culture. It's the DJs, right? Like Kool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, like all DJs, right?
Of course.
And that's really like the fuel for obviously the dancers, because you don't just dance to like nothing.
Of course, yeah. And there's so much you can do with acapella, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's really important, and I think people really should appreciate it more, and that's why I'm finally glad that like you decide to come do the podcast, because it's just important to get like what you have out there. So when is that Scratcher battle, or when is that event coming out?
We're looking to do it sometime in the summer, just so we can get people from out of town to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year when I first threw down Scratcher Classic, it was all local, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't very. I felt like it wasn't very well promoted.
Yeah.
But now that people know about it, people start getting excited. People finally discovered what scratching was. Now they want to try it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So of course now, I guess like guys in the b-boy scene that want to start scratching, like Doodles, he's one.
Yeah, Doodles is like trying to get into everything.
Exactly, and like props to that guy, right? You know what I mean? Like you get your hands on it once you start it, you start getting hooked on it, and that's the thing, right? Once you have fun with it, and like me, you find the expression part out of it. It's cool. And now you have a battle too. There's just more to do in our community now, right? Especially if you're in the hip hop scene. So which I find is gonna be perfect for summer.
Yeah, I think so too. Me and Mark were actually, well, we spoke about this a little bit on your at the social. Me and Mark are gonna be organizing a battle where we want locking, popping, hip hop, like these categories for the battle, and then like a kids one.
Yep.
And we'll talk about it more after, because I don't want to bore anybody with just like, oh, we should do this and that, blah blah blah. But like that, it would be cool if we could collaborate on something like that. bring more people together and kind of unify some of the elements of hip hop
sure.
too. Yeah, man. I'm trying to remember the first time I actually met you, and I don't recall the actual first time. I was like, oh, I just kind of knew that guy from like for a while right now.
Yeah.
No,
I hear you.
I think it's mostly just hanging out with going to the b-boy events,
Most likely.
and then it's
I
just
would
like
think
just
that's
kind
it.
of in passing, like, oh, I know that guy now. You know,
that's
Right?
probably exactly what went down too.
because I think there's a bunch of people that are that for me is like that's what it's like. Like, oh, I just know that guy now. Like, so, yeah, man. I'm glad to have you here. Sometimes I run out of things to say, and I'm like, I don't have any questions right now. So that's how we do it when we're on the podcast, just random talking and stuff. But what's your vision for? Because you were talking about it before when you had that conversation. What's like your ultimate goal with like an event? Like, what would you want to see from like your ideal event?
My ideal right now, I want to bring DMC back to Winnipeg. We've had it before,
Mhm.
but with our scene dying down, with the battle scene in the DJ part of it, right now I feel we just need another kickstart just to get everybody back into it. There's still a handful of people that still like to juggle and scratch, but the technicality part that's there, like I feel like we still need to step our game up before I really bring it in. Just right now, like the power heads are probably out east and west.
Yeah.
Not so much in the mid, like where we are right now.
What do you think about Charlie Hustle?
Oh, he's a cool guy, man. That guy is cool as hell. He's a fun DJ, to be honest. Watch him. He's very entertaining.
I saw him at what was it, the Red Bull freestyle thing? Oh man, that was crazy. Like, and he won that, and it was like I was there with hanging out with DGC, and it's like, holy crap, this is insane. But yeah, who do you think is like who are your favorite DJs like locally?
Locally, man, I can't even really pinpoint to one. But everybody has their own differences. Like everyone has their own style. I could even say one guy, he's part of my crew. He goes by Res One. He's probably one of the most underrated DJs that I know of. Like this guy's done DMC and everything too back in the day, and till today, how he expresses ideas, just DJing in general.
Yeah,
it just blows your mind. Like how he can, like with just word playing or even just scratching and juggling too. Like it's all there. It's all within his hands. Just watching him, this looks very natural to him.
Yeah, it's like second nature.
Yeah.
I had a question and it slipped out of my mind. That's what happens sometimes. No, I was listening to the Dilo on 106.1.
Yeah.
And he had that 5 o'clock mix or whatever, and he had this George Michael.
Oh yeah.
Song that I'll never wanna dance again. Right? That
Careless
song.
Whisper.
Careless Whisper. Yeah, that's what it's called. And oh man, that was like such a like. I think I really like D-Lo a lot, but who do you think are some DJs that should get more shine, or like who you want people to listen to more of?
To me, everyone seems like they're really great. Like I really can't pinpoint one person. It's the toughest part, but I think everyone just deserves a chance at it, right? But if I put it down, yeah, I would just say one of my boys, Res One. He's such a killer, but nobody knows his name isn't just out there. But when people hear him, we're like, "Who's this guy?" And it's funny because he looks just like Dio too. He's short and bald, right? Kind of chubby too, and yeah, but he's like on a whole different level too.
Are there any spots that you regularly like play at?
There was one spot just recently. I was playing at Silk for a while when they opened, but I believe that right now they're still reconstructing on their club nights. But right now it's nothing much. I do more socials and weddings now, which I actually enjoy doing.
Yeah. And like how good are you with the requests? Like if somebody's like, oh, I would like to request this. Like, what's your like guidelines when somebody requests something like, oh man, no, you should play like Still Ballin' by Tupac or something.
You know what? If it's going with I'm already playing, I have usually no problem with it. But
Yeah.
it's something totally off. Like I'm not gonna, I'm going hard with the hip hop, and next some random guy wants freaking Sandstorm. I'm like, what? Like no, like. Of course, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna play Barbie Girl.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play like something crazy like that because it's cool that you can take. Some people do take requests, but at the same time, put it this way: if you're out in a club and you're playing, what are they there listening to? Really, are you a jukebox? Do you know what they want to hear, or are they there to listen to you? Like what do you have there to deliver to the crowd?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think it's more reasonable.
Right. Has there been any like weird encounters when you were DJing, or like some kind of, I don't know, like something that's like kind of like what, I can't believe this is happening.
Oh yeah, like that guys. Okay, this is guys. Right in front of me. I'm going hard. Next, this kind of sounds wrong now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I'm going hard because this guy took his shirt right off right in front of me and just started like trying to high five me and everything over the DJ booth. I'm like, what are you doing, man? No, put your shirt back on, right?
Random stuff, man.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of D'Lo, I went to see some stand up, like stand up comedy at Rumors, and Ron Jasol was playing.
Oh yeah.
You know Ron Jasol? And he was he had this one story. He's like, I'll leave you with this. And he started talking about D'Lo and like a story with D'Lo, and like there's some kind of fight that happened in the, I think in the crowd or whatever, or D'Lo threw a beer bottle or something. And then like, I don't know if you know what story I'm talking about. I don't want to like put D'Lo on blast because like I obviously like his stuff and everything, but it was just like a funny story where it had involved like D'Lo's girlfriend at the time or whatever. And do you know about the story? Not really.
Not really.
But it's just funny that he was talking about like being friends with D'Lo because they hang out or something, and just interesting. I was like, yeah, oh, that's kind of cool. It's kind of random.
Sometimes you just gotta keep it real, I guess, right?
Yeah. So you've been DJing for a while, hey?
Not as long as I feel I should have been DJing for, to be honest. I've been at it. This is gonna be my 6th year coming July. Ever since I've actually owned turntables. Scratching wise, I've been scratching for a solid 4 years now. So I guess I got somewhere with this whole DJ game.
Yeah, and I feel like if you like, I feel like DJs get like paid better than than mostly everybody else. Like if you're a dancer, it's like you gotta like negotiate whatever you're gonna get paid or whatever like that. But DJs, everybody like has this idea in their mind that DJs have to get paid for an event. Boom. And then they usually pay like a lot, and you're like, what? They're paying me this much, right? This is what I've heard, right? So have you experienced the same thing with that?
It's
like,
not,
damn, I'm getting paid this just to...
It's not as glorifying as it is. There's some places like, oh man, it's so bad. I remember a couple nights I would walk out with nothing. I do,
Oh, wow.
I'd play there, for 4 hours on a usual like club night or even at a lounge, and and they would, the thing is like you're there providing a service.
Yep.
That's one thing that they wouldn't recognize, and they would just base it on whatever sales comes through the door.
Oh,
which
yikes!
You know what I mean? Like you're just there wasting your talent now. Which I probably would have had more fun just DJing by myself at home.
Yeah. Are there like contract things that you have to like settle? Like, okay, this is what I demand, blah blah blah. This is what it is, or is it like a verbal agreement, or like what do you like doing? Like, I guess it's just more for advice of other people who are trying to book themselves as a DJ.
Well, it depends what you're actually getting into. More like if you're gonna do events for personal stuff like weddings or socials, stuff like that. Of course, you come up with a contract of your own, and versus doing a club thing or a lounge, that's when all the verbal agreements, right? Usually you can get away with what you first negotiate with, because if not, if you go too high, bang, you're just gonna look for the cheapest DJ, that probably plays off an iPod or whatever, and it'll just work for a bar tab, which is, you know, that's the I think that's what's really destroying the whole DJ scene as well. Just the guys who like to undercut, which guys that don't practice and all that, right?
Yeah. It's the same thing with dance, right? Like dance routines and stuff, like or dance crews. It's like, oh no, I'll accept this little these little crumbs from from this. Yeah. So how is it like reading the crowd, and like what's your process when you're like, okay, now I got to read this crowd and I got to figure out what like they're vibing to and what they're not vibing to. Like, how's that process in your mind when you're there? Is it something that's really conscious, or are you just gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna play whatever I want, or does it depend on the situation?
Majority of the time, for a good DJ is to read the crowd. Of course, you want to keep your floor packed the whole time. Say, of course, like when you drop your next track, you got to keep it on the same flow, right? It's like, I don't know how I could even describe this. But just watching the crowd, I could do a whole 90s scene, right? And if they're going to keep feeling the whole 90s thing, I'll keep it there. I'll keep dropping, track after track on a 90s tip. But eventually I'll still try to, go off of it, see what the crowd kind of likes. Yeah. This is the point where you're kind of experimenting, but you don't want to lose your crowd. You'll keep your flow at that one point, but you don't want to go so off. You don't want to like go from a 90s joint and play like some crazy trap stuff that's out like these days. You don't want to play Cool J, and then next thing you know, you're dropping Designer. It's just not gonna flow, right? It just doesn't make sense. And then you just look at the crowd. You just kind of how I like to do it. I like to build upon it. I'll go from like a 90s to a 2000, and I'll go to some of the newer stuff. But wherever range it is, if the crowd's feeling that the whole time, of course I'm gonna keep that. That's your floor, right? Yeah. The last thing, being a DJ, you want to see your dance floor just bare bones. There's nobody there.
And how fast do you like recognize that and like transition to another song? Like, let's say like you play something, and it's like just not like you're bombing. Like there's nobody. Let's like people just like I'm out, and then they're like, and the dance floor is like empty, and you're like, okay, how long do I wait until I change into the next song, or
well, usually like if that song really just bombed like heavily, I try to go back into see like what was actually picking up the crowd before, right? Then you're not gonna go like I'll still progressively get into like the bigger stuff, like the bigger hit songs, but of course the bangers always get people going. Let's see, majority of the time. It's happened a couple times, of course. Like I can't say I've always had a flawless dance floor, right? There's times where like, okay, people are getting off. Maybe they just want to drink or whatever. To reel them back in. For some people, I've heard this tip before. It's to get the girls on the dance floor because usually just the guys are shy, yeah, right? Guys aren't gonna go up there, have a sausage fest and just start.
Sausage fest. Yeah, man. Mean? Let's all go on there. No girls.
Right.
That's what it is when you break it, yo.
But the thing is, right? If the girls are there, the guys are gonna get attracted. Bang. So yeah, like one of my buddies said, just play something the girls would like at least, to build that floor again. And yeah, majority of the time it does work. You play single ladies. The next thing you know. You have all these Beyoncés coming to the dance floor, right? Yeah. So it pans out pretty good.
I had another. God damn it! I had another question. I forgot it. Yeah. That's how. That's usually how things work out, right? Like the women are always like first, and then like, oh, guys will follow. It's just kind of like a nomadic tribe or something.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, yo, check that out, right? Of course, let's go prowl now.
What's some advice you would give to somebody who's like trying to get into DJing? Like how would be like a good way for them to like kind of get into it or start learning or progress like with that?
The most you can say is just keep practicing. Just don't lose your passion. If you got into it, try to stick with it at least. Give it a chance. Once you start losing it, next thing you know, you just blew off, how many hundreds of dollars just on equipment. what you can do now, sell for half the price of Kijiji, which is,
So would you suggest somebody like, kind of like how would they practice at first, or how would they like try to like do the actual scratching and all that kind of stuff, if they don't have the equipment? Like, what would you suggest to that person?
if they didn't have the equipment.
Yeah, it's like find somebody who does it and who has it, and be like, oh, can I?
Honestly, it's probably the first steps, right? Because once you get your hands on it, that's when you really, I'd say that's when you really get your interest on it.
Mhm.
And if you by chance find anyone of course, jump on it, right? Then see if you actually like it, and then spend whatever you need to spend on equipment itself.
Do DJs like converse a lot about different techniques and like kind of consult each other on these kind of things with just like any kind of technique or like any advice? Do you guys do that?
Of course, all the time. It's because majority of the time, usually it's you kind of look at each other like, "Yo, was that whack? Was that
Mm-hmm.
was it nice?" It's all constructive criticism, so you gotta take that in, of course, when you practice with other DJs too, which is actually pretty good. In the same time, some people get nervous about doing it because this one guy could be well more experienced versus this other guy. He's just kind of starting and he's nervous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, you gotta overcome that and just take whatever advice you can get from other people too, which works out.
Are there any like competitive, like, do you guys get competitive at all with each other in certain moments or certain situations with like amongst DJs? Because I'm trying to relate it back to what I know with like dancers or anything. But is there like, oh, like this DJ is doing like that? Like if you see some, like you hear or see some footage from like some DJ, like, oh snap, now I gotta outdo that guy on my set or whatever.
Of course, but at the same time, it's like if once you see that one guy progressing, now it's gonna push you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always gonna be a push. You see one guy, like, wow, how the hell do you do that? Now you can start practicing more. Maybe you might try to figure out his techniques and stuff, and you try to absorb it in, right? But in the same time, just like dancing, you don't want to bite.
Yeah.
Of course.
How much? I'm just firing away all these questions. How much history do you know of like within the DJing thing? Because I think my understanding of it is pretty muddy, and I want to like know more. Like, okay, how did it start? Like, who's like the first person to scratch or whatever? And is there any controversy about that? Like,
well, who's this? The first person to scratch is that I think this goes by Grandmaster Theodore. I think that's what he goes by. Basically, he found scratching by accident.
mm-hmm.
What he did, he's playing a record on, his parents' turntable, and next thing you know, or parents, I don't know, could have been his, and he just started moving the record back and forth. It's like, whoa, what was that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rick, right? Next thing you know, you can see how it's evolved from, with nothing, you just pulling a record back and forth to, manipulating sounds that, with the whole big setup.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been pretty cool, like how it's been too, versus what especially with what equipment's out there now that you can really push what you've already learned.
Yeah. I heard that Grandmaster Flash invented the crossfader. Is that true?
I can't really.
Do you know? I'm sorry. I seem like.
Really
do you know if that's true, Jhorick? tell me the truth, man.
I can't tell you that at all. I have no idea, man.
And then when do you think that was about? Like what years that was about? Was it
could have been like
Theodore?
Maybe about early 80s, very early 80s, maybe even late 70s.
Okay.
You could see it because this was like around the times when hip hop was really starting to get up there, right?
Because like they say that hip hop started in 1973.
Okay.
Right. So I would imagine that it would happen like around that time with DJing, but maybe it was like with the scratching, it was like a different story than actual like playing the music out there.
Because what I would be more thinking is with what it used to be before, it would have been more of the looping, of back spinning and everything, right? We got b-boys doing their, they're doing their thing, and then, the DJs playing their tracks, right? But you hear music, you hear b-boy tracks, and there's a whole solid maybe 10-15 seconds of a break that just lets the b-boys go off.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of it is like, it's just part of the track, right? But there's always that one drum break where, fuck, it's the get down, right?
Yeah.
That's the best I can describe it. But that's pretty much what it was.
Damn it. I keep losing all these questions. They're just like popping out of my head. But okay. Are there any like documentaries that you really like that you would recommend to people?
Well, in my case, since I really like scratching, there's one called ScratchCon 2000. Basically, it was like a big gymnasium or theater, but it was Kubert that was doing the whole. I can't even describe it. It was like a big teaching thing, and it was showing the history of Scratch, like right from the get go to, I guess, from that time 2000. He's telling you about how this scratch was invented versus this scratch invented, and then beat juggling and everything. So the whole hip hop influence was there too, and it was just filled with big name DJs that were there that were part of the battle scene at least. And oh man, like it's probably a 3-hour DVD, and it's just so informative.
Yeah,
and it brings it back to its roots, and I guess all the founding fathers and all that stuff too. The whole scratch game.
How is your repertoire? Is it pretty diverse? Is because how I'm talking to you right now, it seems like you have a pretty diverse thing. Like if you want to go 90s, you could go 90s, or if you want to go 2000s, you could go 2000s. Like it seems like it's a very deep understanding of different genres of music as well as like different time periods.
Yeah.
Like how would you describe your like?
I still feel like a little more of the open format. But I'm still a majority of the hip hop and R&B. Like I really like 90s hip hop and R&B. That was my thing. I grew up on that stuff. So stuff like that, like I'll go straight into it because it takes a lot of people back. Like most of the crowds that I've been working with are roughly around my age ish or so. But if I'm in a club, it's gonna be younger people, 18-year-olds and all that. So you got to work around with what's a little more newer.
Yeah.
I've nothing against the newer music. It just doesn't sound anything like what it used to be, but it gets the crowd going, right? That's the thing. That's when you gotta really like push what your
like your personal preferences.
Exactly. You gotta get out of it. You gotta get out of your comfort zone. That's basically what I gotta say about that. And and the majority of the time it's gonna work out because this is the new crowd. Like they didn't grow up with you.
Yeah.
I'm 31. They're 18.
Yeah.
Right? No, I'm not gonna be dropping like I don't know, like old breaks or whatever.
Yeah. They're like, what is this?
Exactly.
What is this kind of music?
They can't vibe to it because they like that new mumbling rap, right?
Mumble rap. Are we gonna talk about mumble rap? Andrew, you have opinion on mumble rap? He's shaking his head. No, he doesn't have a mic. So, we were talking about this before, but having like a funk styles event and how open you would be to be doing that kind of thing.
Oh, definitely would do it. Like this is the kind of music that I feel I don't really get to play out in the public. But when opportunity comes, right, of course I'll take it. And I guess you've heard me drop a couple here and there.
Oh yeah, man! I'm just like yes, yeah. It's like
so when the time comes, like when I see you come around, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna drop it right now. Here it is. Right? So I'll go to my funk folders, right?
Because I was like, Ricky, can you play some popping music? I remember asking him one time, and he played the Amadeus. I'm like, Ricky, man, like what the. So
so like I like tapping to like Zapp and Roger, stuff like that. Like of course, man, I like that. I like that era. So
that's cool, man. Like I think we're gonna try to have some of like the smaller jams like that, and it's hard to find a good reliable like DJ who plays funk. Like usually they're kind of they're too like I don't know, they're kind of out there or something, and I have a fear that they'll be playing something that's I guess too disco or too just like something 70s that's not really like so I don't have that concern with you, so I'm like, oh yeah, we should definitely get this thing going. But we'll talk about all that kind of stuff after. What kind of stuff are you into other than DJing? Because we've just been straight up hardcore on this one topic, but
I don't know.
You work out, man? Do you even lift, bro?
Yeah. Well, I guess I work out on the side. That's really it. And I just work. I have a simple life, really. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I just work out, go home, practice.
Where do you work, man? If I may ask. Well, if you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. But, like some people feel like, I don't. But
I'm a mechanic. I'm an automotive mechanic at Winnipeg Dodge.
okay,
So
damn.
I fix the soccer mom's cars. That's what I do.
Snap, man. You should fix my transmission, bro. Like, no, I actually have a transmission problem, but we'll talk about that later too. I was talking about like mechanical stuff. Do you have any questions for me, man? I've been just firing questions at you. Like, I'll let you ask me some questions if you have any.
Well, what do you have going for yourself for 2017?
Well, we're doing the CypherTalk thing, and we're trying to come out with a merchandise line, and trying to get this out. Obviously, we have a little bit of a foothold in the local community, but we want to get that out there in like Vancouver, Toronto, or Montreal. But we want to also have guests from there, and like maybe like I guess you could say more like renowned guests or like celebrity guests. So just booking that. And then me and Andrew our musical duo is called Machina 2, and we I don't know if you listened to the mixtape at all. We released one in the middle of December, and we have new music coming out, so you guys should check it out. A lot of things, man. I'm still trying to dance and everything, so it's trying to juggle all these these crazy things and work and everything. But still trying to dance. And there's that Who's the Illest on January 28th that me and Mark are going to be training for, because we've both been invited to battle in that contest. And then that big battle that we're trying to organize as well around summer, and hopefully invite some people from Alberta and Saskatchewan if there's anything out there.
But for sure, we get people from the east. That'd be nice.
And and have that battle, and finally have an actual locking battle here, and a popping battle, and a hip hop battle, like an actual hip hop battle where you're playing hip hop music. So man, there's a lot of things going on. That's a lot of stuff. Did you need to get out of here anytime soon, or okay? We're gonna cap it at there. Anything you wanna say before we go?
Well, I don't know. Just shout out to you and the Good Fun crew. That's one thing. That's for sure.
Thanks, man.
You and I are here doing it big. See this thing get the ball rolling. So it's a good start.
I think there's going to be big things for 2017. Like you were talking about it, you got me hype at that social, and we're going to do some great things. I have to give a shout out to Canadian Footwear. We Fit You. We have 3 locations in Winnipeg, 1 in Calgary. So come check us out. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you guys start off your new year really well. If not, get on that. Let's go, champ. CypherTalk podcast. Jhorick, Illjay2. We're out, man.
We're out. Peace out.